right, welcome to this little short video lesson about parenting. So this lesson is actually based on a blog post I wrote, but because I understand that some people are busy, and with a video, which is audio, you can listen while you're busy doing other things, let's say cooking or driving your car. Now, of course, be careful, right? Keep your attention on what you're doing. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about how to increase your communication with your child. Now, first, let's take a look what some of the common methods are that we currently use. Currently, most parents use methods which I call kind of forcing your thoughts upon your children. Like, here's the way it is, and you accept it, even if you don't understand it with reasoning, but you still accept it, right? That's what we commonly do. Now, usually, this works fine for young children, but sometimes not, depending on how rebellious they are, right? But especially when they hit their teen years, this is going to fire back at you. And then we get teenage rebellion, right? And of course, naturally, some of that is normal, right? Because, hey, they're becoming adults and they want their own life, and that's understandable, right? So they individuate. Now, obviously, when children are younger, they don't do that, partly because they're, younger, smaller, their thinking is still limited, they don't totally understand. And of course, you're much bigger than them. So there's that factor as well, where they don't quite have the power to do something. Now, the important thing to know is when you force your ways on other people, at first they might accept, because like I said, they're small and young, but eventually they get to the point that they just don't tell you anything, right? They just withhold from you all the things that they don't think you want to know. And that is a dangerous situation when you have a teenager, right? You would want to know whether someone, is offering them drugs or something of the sort. I think you would want to know, right? And although that's not a pretty picture, but if you know, you can do something about it. And if you don't know, you find out way later, then there's a big problem. And then when they have that problem, where are they going to go? They won't go to you because they can't really communicate with you. So now you are lucky if there is maybe an uncle or a family friend they can go to. Or maybe if they had a good friend who thinks pretty logically, then maybe they get the right advice. But what if they went to someone who gave them the wrong advice? And since you're not involved, you don't know anything about it, then many things can go wrong. So I think for that reason, it's crucial to maintain this open communication where your child can tell you everything and is not afraid to do so. Now, I'm going to give you 2 quick tips that can help you achieve this. So number 1, be fully present when you speak with your children. Now, what does this mean? Being fully present. Being fully present means having your undivided attention with your children. So that means no phones, no TV on in the background, no thinking about other things. Just you and your child, and really doing a lot of listening and not so much talking. And the talking you probably should be doing is something like this, asking questions like, well, what makes you think that this is the correct way? Or how did you get to this conclusion? What did you use to reason? And then listening and not judging or interfering or giving suggestions, but just hearing. That is the key thing. And then being there 100% without distraction. Now, the second point is to make it safe for them to communicate with you about the things they will tell you. So don't go break the trust. If they told you, they tried some drugs and, don't go tell your sister or your brother, and it will come out. And then if your child finds out that you did that, even though you said you wouldn't, then of course it's going to be a big problem because you're breaking the trust and they don't trust you anymore, right? Like if you tell someone you're not going to say it to anybody, but then you do anyway, then that's going to break the trust. Now, another way you could make it safe is by not having harsh punishments for your child, right? Oftenly, like if your child tells you something and then they'll be punished by not being able to go outside to meet their friends for a month, it's not really going to help them because it's just going to make them not say anything the next time, right? So try to withhold the punishment and not have that, but instead try to work on getting reason in their brains so that they can use the correct logic to figure out how to make decisions in their life, right? Punishment's not going to do that, right? I mean, if there's any evidence, people in jail are good evidence, right? You know, if you've done some crime and then you have to go to jail for 5 or 10 years, and oftenly people didn't learn anything, right? They go back and do the same things again. And that's a problem. So I don't think that people learn from heavy punishments. I think people learn from learning logic and how to reason the optimum solution to a problem. All right, so let's go and implement these. Now, remember that implementing any of the steps I'm teaching in my parenting lectures and courses and stuff takes time. It's not just you listening and then knowing and then, okay, now it's done. No, it takes time to really get it to use. For example, the first point I made, being present, it takes some practice because there's a lot of ways you can be distracted by. Something flying by, something walking by, something you forgot you had to do. You're cooking at the same time while you're talking, and of course your attention is on not burning your food. That's why I say you need to be distraction free. So stop everything, turn off everything. And if something does come up, like let's say you remembered something that you absolutely can't forget and you almost did, then you tell your child, hey, listen, give me 1 second, let me write this one note down so I can have my undivided attention with you. So then you write it down and you have your attention free again, because now you won't forget because you have it written down. Okay. And okay, so that's it. So have fun putting it to work. And if you need any help, there's always feel free to reach out.